What if the healing you believe is preparing you for your dream is actually becoming the reason you keep postponing it? What if the retreats, the books, the coaching, the courses, the shadow work, and all the personal development are genuinely helping you, but your dream is still dying because none of those things are building it? Bro, I need you to hear this carefully because I do believe in healing. I have spent years doing inner work. I have invested in coaches, courses, retreats, books, and experiences with ayahuasca. Some of those experiences were beautiful. They helped me understand myself, release pain, rebuild trust, and see my life differently. I am grateful for that, but I also fell into a trap. I believed that I had to heal every trauma, remove every limiting belief, regulate every negative emotion, and become completely confident before I could build the business and mission I felt called to create. And that belief cost me years. It cost me momentum. It cost me money. It put me in a debt. Because every time my business wasn't moving, I assumed there had to be another internal block I needed to clear, another wound, another belief, another retreat, another coach, another layer of myself I needed to fix before I was ready. That is the healing trap. The healing trap is when inner work stops supporting your life and quietly starts replacing it. It's when healing becomes your identity. You become the person who is always processing, always preparing, always becoming more aligned, always looking for the next thing inside yourself that needs to be fixed. But you're never quite ready to enter the arena. And the dangerous part is that it feels like it's progress. You're journaling, you're reading, you're attending workshops, you're having breakthroughs, you're crying, releasing, forgiving, understanding, and becoming more self-aware. That progress can be real, bro, but personal progress and business progress are not the same scoreboard. For 5 years, I did almost every form of inner work I could find. I went to retreats, invested in coaching, I bought courses. I read book after book about healing and personal development. I went deep into my childhood, my beliefs, my fears, and the experiences that shaped me. I worked with ayahuasca, and I had moments that I will always be grateful for. I experienced healing. I saw parts of myself differently. I felt connected to something greater than me. But here's the truth that I could not see at the time. I was mistaking movement in my inner world for movement in my dream. I could leave a retreat feeling transformed, but I hadn't learned more about marketing. I hadn't improved my sales. I hadn't become better at editing. I hadn't studied what was currently working on YouTube. I hadn't published enough videos to become a stronger communicator. I hadn't tested enough ideas. I hadn't built the practical skills the business required. The healing was real, but the business progress wasn't. And sometimes the healing work directly interrupted the momentum that I did have. I could finally be building consistency with my YouTube content, and then I would leave for another retreat. Everything would go on pause. I would return emotionally full, physically tired, and completely disconnected from the rhythm I had started building. Then I needed time to recover. The break became longer, starting again became harder. And while I was measuring what the retreat gave me internally, I wasn't honestly measuring what the interruption had cost my mission. Again, I'm not saying the retreat was bad. I am saying I was only looking at one scoreboard. There is an inner work scoreboard. That scoreboard measures self-awareness, forgiveness, emotional regulation, stronger boundaries, healing shame, understanding your patterns, and reconnecting with yourself. That scoreboard matters, but there's also a building scoreboard. How many videos did you publish? How many offers did you make? How many sales conversations did you have this week? How much time did you spend improving the actual skill? What did you test? What did you learn about your audience? What did you learn about your market, your message, your craft, or the platform you're trying to grow on? You need both scoreboards, but you cannot use progress on the healing scoreboard to pretend that you're advancing on the building scoreboard. Inner work can prepare you for the dream. It cannot build the dream for you. And I believe fear of failure can hide inside this trap because healing gives you a form of progress that doesn't always require you to be tested. A book can give you an insight without anybody rejecting you. A retreat can give you a breakthrough without no marketing telling you no. A course can make you feel prepared without requiring you to publish the imperfect video. A healing session can help you understand why visibility feels unsafe without requiring you to actually become visible. And because healing is respected, it becomes very difficult to recognize when you're using it to avoid the practical work. You can always say, I'm working on myself, and you are. But the deeper question is, are you also working on the dream? Are you healing because something genuinely needs your attention? Or are you healing because building would expose you to uncertainty, rejection, low views, failed offers, slow growth, and the possibility that your current strategy needs to change? Bro, sometimes the next wound doesn't need another 6 months of analysis. Sometimes it needs a new experience. Sometimes you heal the fear of being seen by being seen and surviving it. Sometimes you rebuild self-trust by keeping a promise. Sometimes you heal the belief that you're incapable by practicing until you become capable. Sometimes you stop feeling powerless by learning a skill that gives you more options. Sometimes the next layer of healing isn't found at another retreat. It's found inside the repetition, the upload, the offer, the conversation, the failure, the adjustment, the decision to return tomorrow. You don't have to heal everything before you start building. Healing isn't a final destination that you must reach before you're worthy or ready to begin. You don't become confident on camera by endlessly preparing yourself to be on camera. At some point, you have to turn the camera on. You become more confident through the videos. You become a better communicator through the videos. You become a better editor through the videos. You discover your voice by using it. You discover what works by testing it. The action you keep postponing may be part of the healing you have been searching for. That's the permission I want you to receive today. You are healed enough to begin. You are whole enough to participate. You can still have things to work through and build something meaningful at the same time. And let me give you the guardrail because I do not want this message to be misunderstood. I'm not telling you to ignore trauma, bro. I'm not telling you to abandon therapy, coaching, meditation, retreats, or inner work. There are seasons when healing deserves more of your attention. There are moments when your mental and emotional health need care before you push harder. I don't regret the genuine healing I received. What I regret is believing that healing was the only work my dream required. Healing should help you return to your life. It should not become a replacement for living it. So I want you to do what I call the 2 Scoreboards Reset. First, write down the inner work you have done over the last 6 months. Give yourself credit for it. What have you healed? What have you understood? What patterns have you changed? How have you grown? Don't dismiss that progress. Second, write down the practical work you have done for the dream during the same 6 months. Not what you planned, not what you researched, not what you visualized. What did you actually build, polish, sell, practice, test, improve, or complete? Look at both lists honestly. Then answer the most important question. What practical action have I been replacing with more healing? Maybe it's posting the videos. Maybe it's learning sales. Maybe it's studying the current algorithm. Maybe it's improving your editing. Maybe it's making the offer. Maybe it's asking people what they actually need. Maybe it's practicing your craft instead of continuing to question whether you're ready for it. Choose one building action and complete it within the next 24 hours. Not after you feel more aligned, not after you clear one more block, not after you become completely fearless, within the next 24 hours. Because healing can be real while your dream is still dying, bro. And the answer is not to shame yourself for the years you spent healing. The answer is to use what you have healed, bring the self-awareness into the sales conversation, bring the stronger boundaries into the business, bring the confidence, the belief into the video, bring the emotional regulation into the uncomfortable season, bring the wisdom back into the arena. Your inner work was never supposed to keep you inside the waiting room. It was supposed to help you walk through the door. And if fear, self-doubt, or the belief that you're still not ready has kept you trapped in endless self-improvement instead of building the work you feel called to create, download my free audio training, Limitless. This isn't meant to become another resource for you to collect while postponing the work. Use it to identify the limitation that has been controlling your decisions. Expand what you believe is possible and then take one practical action toward your business, your brand, or your dream the same day. Don't just listen to it. Use it. Link is down below. Subscribe and walk this journey with me, bro. I'm still learning the balance too. I'm still healing what needs to be healed, but I am no longer confusing every internal breakthrough with external progress. I'm learning to heal and build, to reflect and execute, to understand myself and still do the practical work. You don't need to become a completed human being before you create meaningful work. You don't have to finish healing before you start building. Take what you have learned, take who you have become, return to the dream. Build the skill, polish the work, make the offer, and no matter what, do not give up on yourself.